Well, howdy folks. Welcome back to some game time. Um, so I just was started working on this puzzle. As you can see over, oh, here it is. It's medium today, medium. Got started on it and went round and round and got stuck for about 5 minutes, and then I found a solution and I went ahead and I got starting to solve it. And I got down to the last two answers and they were the same number. So I boogered it up somewhere. I looked at it for a couple minutes and I couldn't find my mess up. So I reverted it and I'm going to start from scratch and pay a little bit more attention and see if I cannot mess up that badly. That's one of the great things I do like about Sudoku is there's only one solution. You cannot have multiple solutions, so therefore the numbers have to fit in one particular spot. For me, gives me some footing in the world of chaos, and but that this game has one solution gives me a little bit of peace of mind. All right, so let's get started again. Okay, we are going to start with some ones. I'm going to let my mind wander here. I'm noticing some ones. We've got a 1 down here in these bottom cubes across the middle and the bottom row, so we know that there is a 1 here in the top. We've got a middle 1 here in this row. We've got a middle at the bottom row, so that makes this one a 1. We've got a middle in the left column and a 1 in the right column, so that makes this a 1 as well. We've got a middle 1 here in the left column and in the middle column, and a 1 across the top row. So we're not sure exactly which one of these is a 1, so we'll mark that. We've got a 1 across the top row, a 1 across the left column, and a 1 across the right column. And now that actually just helped us to solve that. So we are now done with all of the 1s. We've got the 1s complete. Okay. So let's look again at some patterns here. Anytime you see a cube that's got like a row and then 1 missing, I always look down that row and see if there's one of these numbers that's missing. Is there a 1 missing? Well, no, we've got that 1 already. Is there a 2 missing? Nope, there's a 2. Is there a 3 missing? Well, sure enough, right here, see this 3 completes this bottom row and there's just 1 spot left. Okay, now the same thing down here in this one. We've got a row and then a single space. I look, is a 6. Can it complete this cube? No, there's already a 6 in here, and here's a 1 comes down. So this can't be a 1, there's already a 1. So anytime I see something like that where it eliminates all of a row except for a single spot, it's always wise to look at that. And the other thing to do too is if you see again a row and it comes across symmetry. You see how these 2 are missing here on this right side? Well, this left side there's 2. See how there's numbers up here and then there's numbers up here? There's a lot of symmetry in these games. So here I'm going to follow this 8 across, and I have an 8 towards the top, and so that completes these rows and columns. So that only allows this one to be an 8. Now I've got a 3, so that completes it, but there's already a 3. A 1 and a 7, which completes, but there's already a 1 and a 7. So you see we just got that easy 8 out of the way by just following through some of these rows and columns. So even like in this particular column, we have a 1, 2, and a 5. If I bring the 1 up, well, we've already got a 1. If I bring the 2 up, we've already got a 2. Now, if I bring this 5 up, this column is filled with 5s. This row is filled with 5s. So this leaves us with a 5. Okay. Now, speaking of this 5, if we look across to the left, the 5 goes across the top, 5 goes across the middle, bottom one is a 5. All right, let's see what else we have. Rows and columns, if there's like just a little sliver like that. The other thing too we know is that when there's 3 left like this, we know what these 3 numbers are. So if we go 1, 2, 3, 4, okay, so we're missing a 4. Well, hey, look, here's a 4 and here's a 4. There we go. Then we're missing a 5. Well, here's a 5 in the middle. And then we've got our 6, a 7, an 8, and so the only one we're missing now is a 9. Now this column is now complete except for this bottom spot. We're missing a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We don't have a 7 in this column. Well, now we do. All right, and then an 8 and a 9. So this column is now complete. Okay. All right, now we only have 2 spots left in this row. So we've got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is a missing. Oh, and here's our 6 down here. So we've got a 6, and then the only number left now is a 7, and then an 8 and a 9. So this row is now complete. Okay. All right. So we're just chugging along here good. Let's look in this top left. We've got these 3 cubes left, 3 spots left. Let's look see what we're missing. So we've got a 1. Now we need a 2. Okay, well we can't have a 2 in this left column, so one of these 2 is a 2. So let's mark that there for us. Then we've got our 3 and our 4 and a 5 and a 6. Now we need a 7. Now here, look at this. We've got a 7. So this can't be a 7, which actually is really good for us because it locks these two as a 2 and a 7. They can't be anything else, and that means whatever's here is the only number left in this cube, which is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Alright, now we've got 2 spots left in this column. We've got a 1, we've got a 2, we're missing a 3. Okay, so we look to the right, well, no 3 there, but there's a 3, so this cannot be a 3. Only leaves us as a 3. Okay, and then a 4. Alright, and see how there's a 4 down here, which is great, but 4s are only 1 left in this column. That completes the column. Alright, let's see what else we have. Okay, we've got 3 left in this cube, so let's look at this cube. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. We need a 5. Now, any 3 of these can be 5. I don't have anything above or below or to the right that can cancel any of these out or complete the 5s. Alright, let's look at our 6s. Alright, we've got a 6 to the left, to the right, completes this row. So we know one of these 2 is a 6. And we don't have anything else above or below that can help us solve that just yet. In fact, here's a 6 and here's a 6 that complete the top and the bottom row in this middle cube. So we can mark those as well while we're at it. Alright, so then we've got our 7, and we've got our 8, and then we need a 9. So a 5 and a 9 can be in any one of these spots. We're not sure just which one. Okay. Let's look in this particular column because we know these 2, whether it's a 2 or a 7, we know these 2 are locked. So that means we have a 1 and a 3 option again, kind of like what we were doing with the 1 and the 3. Let's look and see if there's anything that can help us out with the numbers that we're missing. So we've got a 1, we've got our 2, we've got our 3. Now let's look for our 4. Now here's a 4, so there cannot be a 4 here. There's a 4 here, so there cannot be a 4 here. So we know one of these 2 is going to be our 4. Okay, so let's look at our 5s. Okay, so this could be a 5. Now we do have a 5 in the right here, so this cannot be, but one of these 2 could. So we have 3 choices, this one, or this one for our 5. We haven't identified, we can't shorten that anymore. So let's look for our 6s. Now we've got a 6 here and a 6 here. We've got our 7s, we've got our 8, and our 9s. And our 9s can be any one of these bottom 4. So that didn't help us extremely, but that's okay. Let's look here at some of our other options here. So we've got a 3 here. You know what? I'm starting to wander a little bit. Let's start going more systematic, I think. Let's look at our numbers. So we've only got 1 9 here, and we've got a 9 here, and they don't really crisscross to help each other, and those are the only 2 9s on the board. Here's a 9 that comes across, a 9 comes up. So one of these 3. We don't have any other eliminations from 9, so let's go to 8. So we've got our 8, 8, and our 8. We've got our 8 and our 8, and one of these 2 is going to be an 8. Alright, we've got our 8 in the right column, so one of these 2 is going to be an 8. In fact, this very far right column, what numbers are we missing? 1, 2, 3. Okay, we're missing a 3 and a 9, so let's mark those. A 3 and a 9, a 3 and a 9. We know that we're missing those numbers. Okay. Alright, and we've got our 8s marked here. Now we've got 8s across in this row, and we've got 8s across in this column. So we know one of these 2 has to be our 8s. Now all of our 8s are fully marked. Okay, let's look at our 7s. Now I see this, remember how we were having the 3 and the 2? Remember we have a 7 up here? With a 7 up here, these 3 cannot be a 7. Remember, because of these 2 and 3? Now look at this 7 here. So now we have an L-shaped that cannot be 7. This is the only one that can be 7. Now we knew that one of these two had to be 6, so that solves this one, and we knew that one of these two have to be 6, and so that solves that one. Now that just eliminated for us. We know one of these two is a 5 and a 9, and we know the other one is a 5 and a 9, and not a 6 anymore. So we now have eliminated what these two can be. Alright, now with this a 5 and a 9, well, there's only 2 spots in this column left, so we know this is a 5 and a 9. Alright, now in this particular column, we have a 5 here, so we know this can be a 5. Now with 5 across the top row, and one of these two being a 5 across the bottom row, one of these middle ones is going to be a 5. Okay, so we are marking, what were we marking? We were marking 7s, I believe. Alright, so we've got a 7 up here, we've got a 7 in the middle, a 7, or were we doing 8s? I can't remember. 7's across the middle, 7's across the bottom, 7's off the right. So we know one of these two is a 7. Okay, in this top right one, we know that there is no 7 in the right column, so one of these three is a 7. We know here in this middle cube, we have a 7 to the... Oh, does that solve our 7? Why do I have a 7 here? I think it might have been a 7 here. Why is that a 7? I think I might have just typed that in the wrong spot, because we can't have a 7 there. Yeah, because of this one. So this 7 comes up, so we still have 4 choices for 7 in this top one. Alright, and then so let's go ahead and look for our 6's, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so this 6 here is going to come across the center, and it's only going to leave us 2 spots for possibilities right here, and that doesn't help us solve these. And then we've got a 6 across the here and to the middle because of this one, and the far right. So that actually solves that for us, and because we know it's top or bottom here, solves this one for us. Okay, so that helped out. We've got all of our 6's. Okay, now let's see here. We just solved this one. Is that going to help us any more in this cube? We've got a 1, we've got a 2. Now we've got a 3 here in this bottom one, so this is a possibility of a 3. We've got 2 3's here, and we've got a 3 across the bottom, and we've got a 3 to the right, so that does help us. There's our 3. Now we've got a 3 down the middle, we've got a 3 down the right, so we have to have a 3 down here onto the left, and we've got a 3 down the middle, and we've got, okay, now great, see this 3 down the middle? So one of these two has to be a 3, so no 3 across the bottom, no 3 across the middle, no 3 on the left, middle, no 3 on the right. So there's our 3. One of these two had to be a 7, so there we go, folks. We start getting cascades. See this 7 comes up, and this 7 comes up. Well, that's our only spot left for a 7. Solves this one, 7, 2. Okay, so in this cube we're missing a 2, so no 2 in the middle, no 2 on the bottom, so this one has to be our 2. Now we're missing a 4 and a 9. Well, there's our 4, so this can't be a 4. Makes this a 4, this a 9. Now in this particular row, what are we missing? 9, 8, 7. There's our 7. So we have a 3 and a 9 in here. 3 and a 9 that's left. And we have a 3 and a 9 down here, and one of these can be a 9 as well. So we haven't identified the 3 and the 9 just yet. Got a fly in here. Okay, alright, so right now we are doing great here with the cascading solution, so we just need to continue to complete that. So we've got 2 numbers that are missing here. We're missing a, looks like a 4 and a 9. Well, here's our 4. So this one cannot be a 4. Leaves this one as the only option as a 4. Makes this one our 9. Okay. So if this here, one of these two is a 4, well, it takes the 4 out of here. Alright, let's see here. So we have a 5 and a 9. See how we've got the 5 and a 9 here? And we've got our 5 and a 9 here still. Okay, 5, and a 9. We just eliminated the 4, but not the 5 and the 9. Now the cool thing here now is with this 5 and the 9, we can follow both completely through, and now we can say that these two cannot be a 5 or a 9. Well, there has to be a 9 here in this cube. There's our 9. Now if this is a 3 or a 9, well, that can't be a 9 anymore because of the 3. That helps cascade this guy and this guy, and then tells us the only number left in this cube is our 8. Alright, so if we have 8 across the bottom, and if we have an 8 down the left side, we now know this one is our 8. The only number missing in this row is our 5. Okay, and in this cube here, we are now missing not an 8, but a 2 and a 4. 2 and a 4. And we don't have actually anything above us that can actually help us to conclude those just yet. So this middle cube here is going to help us finish. So we've got our 1. We've got a 2 right here, right through the middle. So one of these two is going to be our 2. Let's just mark it to help us out. We've got our 3. And we've got a 4 across the top. We've got a 4 down the right side. So one of these two is our 4. Which we know down here as well, this is a 2 and a 4. So that lines up good here for the 2 and the 4. Alright, so now we need a 5 here in this cube, and we've got a 5 in the left, we've got a 5 down the middle, makes this a 5, which makes this an 8, which makes this a 4, which makes this a 2, which makes this a 4, which makes this a 2. Now, there's only one number here in this column, which is going to be a 9, makes this a 5, this a 9, this a 5, and that a 9. So there you have it, folks. Medium, and what I got stumped on is, and I talked about it in the last one, is the easy uses certain strategies to help solve the puzzle, like single eliminations, and then the mediums have single eliminations and double eliminations and a couple other things, and then hards have different strategies of triangles and 2 or 3 eliminations, double and triple eliminations, and ghost rows, and some foresight where you have to line up certain rows and things like that. And I got to the point where I was doing only hard games, so my mind was getting familiar with those types of techniques, and then I went to go play an easy game, and I completely failed. I couldn't remember just the basics. So I really do enjoy playing different levels of difficulties because they flex my brain and make me think of the different solutions and not just one particular type of solution over and over again. Helps to stretch my brain and get it to be more for problem solving and thinking. So there you have it, folks. We have solved our medium puzzle for the day. Hope you guys did okay with yours, and happy gaming. We'll catch you later. Thanks.